Let him do his thing. He's stepping in to say what's up, but there's about to be a good conversation.
Has Slack talked to you today? Okay. I guess I'll just put it bluntly, we need money.
I forget what PNT stood for. It was something in training. Essentially PNT is the hiring and training department for the PD. I'm drawing a fucking blank right now, but personnel and training. Yeah. Yeah. I think overall, a lot of getting, getting our shifts working and in sort of an operating order, I think is healthy and good. And I think that we're working toward it where I want it to be, but I think a lot of what we're going to be discussing is about how to kind of start kicking off shift 3, if I had to guess. Pirates and treasures, god damn it. Punishment and training, yeah. Have a go in, Jenny. I think shift 3 has the best Yelp reviews. That's an interesting way of putting it, but yeah. Is that Turner? It is. Oh! We're so fucking back. We are so fucking back. Let's go. Now they got to bring Harambe back, and then the world can be healed all over again. Holy shit. The apple cinnamon empanadas? That's a thing? That was a thing? People thought they'd never get a Twinkie again. The difference, though, between the Choco Taco and the Twinkie is that the Twinkie actually just fucking sucks. Choco Taco's at least good. The Choco Taco was something to actually look forward to. No one ever actually looked forward to a Twinkie. Talking shit about the Twinkies? Twinkies are not that great. They're like weird, moist, like... They're really not that spectacular, I'm gonna be honest with you. They're not like, Twinkies are beyond disgusting. They're just not that great. It's like an Oreo, right? Oreos are at least good, but like no one's hyped up to see an Oreo. Here we go. Ooh.
You eat the strawberry one?
No, I grabbed that vanilla one. It was good.
There was a strawberry one in here.
Was
Where is
there?
it now? There's
Oh,
one left. I was
oh,
eyeballing
oh.
it the whole time I was talking to her.
I apologize, Cap. I actually have it with me. I'm so sorry.
Oh, all right, thank you. No. 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 All right. Thank you. Let's have a chat back here, all right?
Yeah, of course, not a problem. I apologize. I didn't mean to step into that. Ed and I have been
you're all right.
talking pretty often, and I wasn't thinking. I'm so sorry, sir.
All right. Let's have a chat here in the office.
Yeah, of course. I just wanted to know it's very good to see you. I hope you're doing well.
Doing all right. Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Well, I want to do, I guess I have more questions after having a chat with Ed there.
Oh boy.
But how are things going here in shift 3?
I think okay. I'll give you the honest answer, and then the as some may call the no bullshit answer. Overall,
Just give me the no bullshit answer right away.
Sure. We are operating as good as we can. We are currently in the process of, if I'm being honest, we are missing a lot of people. We are at very minimum capacity. We have 11 full officers, and out of the 11, only 5 of them are currently active. Out of the 5, they're all FTOs. A lot of us are burned out. In total, we have 11 PPOs and 8 cadets. Out of the 11 and 8, 5 of us are managing 19 people. Out of the 5 that are currently managing 19 people, 2 of them are seniors. And at the moment, myself and Barrick have been trying to, and at least I have been trying to, do the best that we can to try and fill in shoes during your LOA, which means we also haven't had a lot of time in the field ourselves.
All right. Well, for the time being, I'm doing more of a light duty role, so I'll be at the station here filling that role. That'll leave you to get back out there. I appreciate you and Barrick stepping up.
Absolutely.
Can you give me a list of people who are not showing up?
Yes. Let me grab I'm gonna grab the.
This doesn't have to be right now. If you want to take down notes and then take care of this later, if you don't want to do it right this moment, let's try to light some fires under some masses.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try to get some people on duty. Let's try to get some more people hired. Let's try to start fixing what we need to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We currently have, I believe, 4 people who are currently in the process of being promoted. Slacks has given us the verbal permission to go through and start hiring people to full. Lucas being one of them. I would have to talk with, I was going to wait for Barrick to do it, but we want to do it in chronological. Lucas has been waiting the longest. We want to make sure we bring him up. And we want to bring up others as well. We were going to do it all in a group at first, but I had told Barrick I feel like making it more personal would be better for I think morale, make it more of a personal thing. So
Okay, and the 4, if I'm not mistaken, are Lavender, Mahone, Troy, and Clover, correct?
yes.
Okay. And then any quorums with Watson being promoted senior?
Not at all. In fact, Slacks even told Barrick and I to kind of bring Alice up if need be. But since you're here, I would be more than willing to say it would, I think, mean more coming from you if you were available for it.
Did you guys have something already planned out or something in mind?
We were going to talk about it. We didn't really have an opportunity yet, but that's still on the table as a discussion we could have.
Is that something you'd like to do? Would you like to, you and Barrick promoter? I could be present
Absolutely.
for it,
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
you both would want to do that. Okay. Is she on duty right now?
She is currently not, no.
Okay, and Barrick is not either. Okay.
Yeah, we're a little
Next time all
little
4 of us
short-staffed.
are on duty, let's give her that promotion.
Perfect. That works with me.
What's the time frame for the other 4 getting promoted?
First come, first serve. But we wanted to try and do it chronologically based on when they receive PPO. So we wanted to promote Lucas first. if you think that we should just do it based off of what we got and go for it, I have no problem doing that too. This way we can get full officers on the streets.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. There's no difference between PPO and full officer, right? It's the title, it's the stripe on the arm, but in terms of the work, it's the same.
Absolutely.
Motivationally, it probably helps a little bit. So I say start pumping them out.
Okay.
Let's knock those 4 out. How's this most recent class doing?
I'll be honest. I have been trying to fulfill a lot of the shoes. I have not had an opportunity to be in the field very often recently. The last 2 weeks, I've maybe averaged 2 calls a day. But from the sounds of it, it sounds like this class has been doing good. I know that we are all struggling with burnout right now, and I don't know how often cadets are being taken out.
Okay. Well, burnout's a real thing. We do got to be aware of that. We got to get people trained up, but we got to be aware of it. It's a fine line, right?
100%.
I'm going to do my best to be present here, at least to deal with anything that needs to be addressed in the station. And little by little, I'll work my way out there into the field.
Okay.
You know anything about what's going on with the mayor's office in terms of the PD?
A little bit, yeah. It's kind of an interesting one. I don't have the full details, but I was texted sort of a rough document of what they're sort of looking at right now.
Who texted you that document?
It was Cornwood, but I was asked by the mayor to come to that meeting.
What meeting?
The mayor had asked me yesterday to come to a meeting. He had questions, and he was very. First time I actually sat with Max, kind of a pushy guy, if I'm being honest. But he was saying that, it's so interesting that, all 3 branches of your chain of command are not there. How are you supposed to operate in full capacity if you can't? Started asking questions. I think he was more looking for a senior's opinion on it. Was at least the way that I viewed it. And it got cut short because Max had to leave for something that was scheduled. But overall, the push that they're going for, I'm very confused about.
Yeah, it seems they want to take full control of PD.
Yeah.
Well, we're obviously going to be doing everything we can to prevent that. That means they're going to be taking care of promotions, demotions, putting people in positions, removing people, all sorts of stuff. So
I think there's avenues.
Seems like quite.
I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Quite a shit show. Seems like a power grab at this point.
So I think there's 2 sides to every token. I think there are points that I think the mayor was looking to make that I would agree with. I think there's a lot of points, though, that I did not agree with. Right. I do think that there are some things that could be delegated to other people outside of, all the responsibility essentially falling on your guys' hands. But at the same time, I don't think everything in that document makes a lot of sense. It seems very much of it does read as a very pushy sort of situation.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, from what I gather from Meta, of course, I'm just kind of getting back in the swing of things, and I've been in contact with the captains on and off here.
Meta?
I'm not completely out of the loop, but it seems none of these issues were brought from the mayor's office to us. It seems someone is going around the captains and bringing these issues to the mayor's office, and the mayor's office is acting directly off of them.
Yeah. I don't know if it reads that way. I don't know. I mean, a lot of it is the mayor's been in touch with a lot of other officers too, getting perspectives. And at first my concern was, does that mean we're going above and around liaison? And from what I've seen, it reads very interestingly, because I think the mayor is looking for answers, and people aren't around to, I guess, have those meetings. When I was brought in,
Okay, when you say people, are you talking about captains?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Max wanted me there more as a next of kin for shift 3, maybe, to ask questions about LOAs in particular.
You think it's odd that he goes around us?
Do I think it's odd that he goes around?
You don't think he should bring that to captains?
If the captain's not available, I think it would make sense if he goes to the next in line.
Slacks is available 10 hours a day. He's never been able to meet with Slacks.
I mean, to be fair, I called and I asked Slacks because he was invited to the meeting and he said, no, I have to talk to the mayor one-on-one.
Okay.
Excited for today.
I see. So he tries to meet with captains once and then, okay. Well, either way, that's something we'll address.
Sure. I mean, to be fair, I've met Max once and it was yesterday. I haven't seen our mayor. It was interesting to have the conversation with him. But it definitely was, it's not a normal occurrence.
So are you for what he's pushing for?
My 4? No. I understand where he's coming from, and I think he makes some, keyword, some good points. But
What are good points?
Specifically the hiring, firing, not a fan. I think I would have to go back and read the document and give you like a list of what I would agree with. I skimmed the document and I said, I didn't even really talk to him about it. I saw the document, made my own conclusions, but I don't think mayor's office having full control of the PD makes sense either.
Mind if I see that document?
Sure. Let's see.
And in no way am I holding this against you. I'm more or less trying to just get my bearings here.
No. You're fine. There's a lot that has been going on. I have heard the word mayor's office passed around. Respectfully speaking, it is one of those things where I have other shit going on that this does not take priority for me for. And I did ask Captain Slacks about it. So, I don't know. Let me ask you this, because this was sort of an encompassing interest I had with the document, and I'd love your input on this. Because there are, 3 pillars that sort of run our police department: yourself, Slacks, and Ruth. Do you personally? I mean, granted this could be above my pay grade, and if it is, I want you to be honest with me, and it won't be up to me. Do you guys feel like having somebody, a person who can be appointed to above you guys to help delegate things, would that be beneficial for this police department? Because I think that was sort of where.
So you're saying a chief?
If that's what we would be calling it, sure.
What are you calling it?
I guess a chief. I mean, I don't know if we have an official name or if that was something of interest.
Right, there is going to be a chief and assistant chief. Yes.
Okay.
That's something that's been in the works for a while.
Gotcha.
But that wasn't a priority right now, but it will be coming here soon enough.
Okay.
Who's eligible for it? Couldn't tell you right now. Who's up for it? Couldn't tell you.
No, that's fair. I'm not looking for names or answers. I just sort of pitching the idea out there, because the way that I've explained sort of, I think, where things are to other people, if I could speak freely.
Right ahead.
The way I see the police department, I used it in the example of a business. Captains are the bosses. Per our chain of command right now, seniors are the managers. Officers are employees. And cadets are, let's say, interns.
Okay.
Because a lot of the weight falls on the the bosses, a lot of the times the managers either one could be getting more or could be I guess taking more weight off of the bosses, or in turn have more people in line to hopefully delegate more things. I think a lot of what a lot of people have brought up with me from concerns, just officers speaking true and speaking their mind, is I think a lot of people would like more delegation. I know somebody the other day, yesterday, brought up a PNT department for hiring and training, as that would take a weight off of your guys' shoulders. And I agreed. It could help out. Even if it's not like a full on like separate department to take away from you, and more of a have somebody sort of run it while you oversee it, could also take weight off. I think people are trying to offer suggestions to delegate more of the responsibility so we can have more cogs turning at once.
I think our goal is in the long run to do that. I think the same people who want to push for more things to do are also people complain about burnout. I think that's a quicker way to burn people out as well.
Oh, I agree.
So in the future, I'd love to have a P&T department. I'd love to have all sorts of divisions. I'd love to have people doing all the hiring. I'd love for all of it. We need numbers right now, but we're not going to sacrifice the quality of officers that we hire for quantity. It takes time. We're how long since we opened the front doors? How long has it been?
I think we just crossed the threshold of what? 2 months? 2 months, 15 days.
2 months, 15. We have more academies scheduled for shift 1 and shift 2. They have some coming up. We need to get one for shift 3. Problem is the people we're training is not coming back right now, right? They're not putting in the hours.
Well,
I guess that's something we need to address and figure out.
I think figuring out why some people are scarce to, I guess, be around. I'm sort of taking that number basis off of what Matt Rhodes discussed as well, because he was the one that went through logistical, and I kind of followed through with him, and we had a conversation with Slacks yesterday or the day before, and it was productive. But the takeaway is, and what Matt said, I actually agree with. I don't think it's the hiring part that is concerning. I think it's we need help training. We need help bringing people up. We need help training. Because while it's great to have officers on duty, we don't have the numbers right now based on who is most active to train these people.
Right. We could have 10 more cadets. It wouldn't change anything.
Exactly.
We still don't have the people to train them. Right. That's our bottleneck. Training is absolutely our bottleneck.
Definitely.
How do we fix that?
Slacks had agreed with the idea of potentially bringing back maybe some people with a little bit of experience to help that process. But I know that that's not always the end all solution, right?
Right.
However, the offset is it would be easier to get people in those places than it is to get people with enough experience in the field to be ready to train our next generation. Because I will say something that I thought was interesting, and this is something Matt brought up, and I didn't actually, neglect it, because I think he has a point. Matt did say that out of the 5 people who are currently right now the most active we have in our shift is all the old guard. A lot of us are still coming back knowing that we're faced with fire. We understand that this is sort of a normal process. But he did make that point, and I don't disregard it. I think he's absolutely correct. What that means in translation, I don't know. But we are still continuing and trying to make that growth. And I think for solution, I mean, it's not an easy one. But my concern right now is, are the cadets that we have right now prepared and ready enough to have the experience in the field to train our next generation? Do we think that we're going to get... I think we are going to get to that point. But I guess my question to you is, do you think we're able to be at that point sooner than later? Because I would argue we have a couple generations before we get to that point
Yeah,
where,
I would too.
okay,
I think they need time, and unfortunately, time is our constraint, right?
sure,
Uh, we're in a tough spot because we want to maintain quality, right?
sure.
All these cadets are brought. Here's the tough part. All these cadets are brought on board.
I don't know who this is. Hold on.
Go for it.
Um, all right, go ahead.
All these cadets are brought on board with minimal staffing in mind, and I'm not sure why people are not put in the hours once they make it to PPO. Understandable before cadet, if they're still training and FTOs are burnt out, they need a break. That's fine. The problem is once they make PPO, what's stopping them now? Why aren't these people showing up? Do you know?
Um, I mean, I could sit here and tell you that some of it could be morale, but that word gets thrown around so freely that sometimes I don't think that that's always the main answer.
Okay, well, let's hop on morale then.
Okay.
What's going on with morale?
Well, I mean, for example, the where people have a lot of concerns with I guess operation, and I think this is more across the board, not just a shift 3 thing. And people are getting on duty and they're told to read their announcements and to acknowledge them and to check off that they've read them. And people are looking and seeing that essentially they're being told that they're replaceable. And while that is true, I think facing the fire and being told that is not always gonna boost somebody to do better. It's gonna scare people. And I think
how are they being told they're replaceable?
I mean, the announcement for Shiesty, let me find it. Yeah, I mean,
wrote that one. Yep.
Yeah, so 10 DAPs, to be told that things are being taken seriously.
Are we talking about the one from today?
The one for Shiesty today, the one for
removal of Officer Shiesty 2613.
Yes. I've already had someone come up to me and they stated that it read as more concern than it was to some people feel like right now, I'll be honest with you, and I feel like I can confidently say this to you. Santino Forte right now is a shift 3 cadet,
right?
And he's been doing a lot. I think he has one of the best personalities we have right now. I think he is one of the best that we see, who everyone loves to be around, genuinely. He had a couple incidents in shift 1. I don't know if you're aware of them.
I am.
And one of the concerns that he told me about, so we in shift 3 discussed sort of where we were with the situation at hand. And the situation at hand with Forte was that he is afraid to do his job. He's afraid to be himself. And I told him myself, don't ever be afraid to be who you are, because you're a damn good officer. And he had a situation. The situation regarding the cleaning of the vomit was one of the incidents that occurred. And I'm going to be honest with you, just off the cuff. On paper, Santino Forte made a mistake by telling a superior no. In reality, I personally think it is disgusting that we're making cadets clean up vomit. That is vile. That is not something that we should have people doing. We're hiring people to be officers. We're not hiring people to be janitors. And I don't agree with the decision that was made by the senior. And I think my biggest concern with that is Forte even admitted to me himself. He said, Flop, if they told me to run 30 laps, I'd run 30 laps and I'd do it blindfolded and I'd do it without questioning. He said, that is not a situation where I felt was something I should be doing. That's not why I took this job. I said, Forte, let me ask you a question. If I told you to pull out your gun and shoot me in the head right now, would you do it? And he said, no. Should we be dapping him for, Or I guess for lack of a better term, should he be in trouble for not pulling out his gun and shooting his superior? I feel like
very different scenarios. Very, very different scenarios.
I agree with you. I would also argue as
well,
though,
comparable.
I also don't think that running laps and cleaning vomit are comparable either, though.
I think I'll be honest with you, I would absolutely have a cadet clean up vomit out of my car if he was interjecting himself into a situation. If he was making fun of the people who were cleaning it, yeah, grab a rag, help him out.
I don't believe he was.
Put some gloves on. Well, were you there for it?
I wasn't. I talked to Forte myself. Okay. I don't think he forced anybody to do anything.
Right. So, to my understanding, at least, they were in the Sally Port in the back. I believe they were having a cadet clean up the throw up, who was riding with the senior at the time.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, Forte was, I'm not sure how he was involved, where he came from. He showed up and then started to make fun of the cadet for cleaning up the throw up. I think that's a bit unacceptable. I think whoever it is, doesn't matter what rank you are, making fun of somebody doing their job cleaning up is unacceptable. I think saying, hey, grab a rag, help them out too, is also acceptable.
Can I ask you a question, Cap? Respectfully?
Go for it.
Were you there?
No.
Because what Forte told me was he asked the cadet, what are you doing? And he said he was cleaning vomit. And at that point, a senior looked at him and said, hey, cadet, why don't you help him out? And then apparently, according to what Forte said, he heard very snarky comments being made by those seniors.
Yeah, I think he should have grabbed a rag and started helping him out.
It's really not up to me to decide what's going to happen to Forte. All I am going to say to you, though, respectfully, is that what Forte did is fixable. And I'm honestly more disappointed that we aren't, as Shift 3, having a say in what's going to happen with Forte. I understand we weren't there, but that's still our cadet, and we know how he operates.
What about the situations where he's told to do stuff and then completely disregards it, does whatever he wants to do? Situation, I believe, by the airfield. You aware of that one?
No, this is news to me.
Okay. He was tasked with staying mobile while a foot, I believe it was not a foot chase, but a foot track. They're trying to track somebody down or track something down. Said he was going to be staying mobile. Ends up going off and does whatever he wants to do, essentially. Goes on foot, starts following people around, helping people out, doing things not what he was intended to be doing. He blew it off when he was questioned about it.
What shift was this?
Shift 1.
Can I ask why this is the first time any of us have heard about this in Shift 3? Was there a command report about this?
Couldn't tell you if there was. I spoke to Captain Ruth about it. I don't know if this was recent, days ago, or how long ago it was exactly. I have to check with them.
I'm really in a rough spot with this situation. I really am, and I'm speaking my mind more freely than I typically would. Typically, I keep my reservations, but I'm gonna be honest. If something's happening to one of our cadets in our shift, I want to know about it, and I want statements from everybody. I understand a captain was on scene, but what is the point of these command reports if we're not writing this stuff down?
It should be written down. It should be.
It also breaks my heart, though, that we're not getting an opportunity to be part of any punishment for this.
Well, no punishment has been given yet, right? So you should be looped into it, and you should be part of it.
Not according to the command report.
What report is that?
It's going to be a report. Bear with me. Santino Forte issues complaints to FAO seniors.
What's report number?
2515. I spoke with Slacks and we decided High Command is going to be handling the punishment regarding the several incidents with Forte.
All right, what's the situation with Vivian Gray?
We spoke, all three, myself, Alice, and Barrick all spoke to Forte about that situation. Forte was in shift 1. Forte was on a scene and he had to search a suspect, and the suspect said, "You could search me for $500. Forte made a joke and said, "Yeah, I'll give you $500. And apparently, according to what Forte told us, Vivian threw her hands and essentially started losing her shit on scene and became very unprofessional, walked away while Forte was operating and doing his thing. Apparently, the individual, Abdul, who was in apprehension, had heard Vivian making very rude comments about cadets and about just the way that Forte is as a person. I don't have exact quotes. So Forte decided to disregard it, specifically addressing the comments on a scene. Situation goes through. He follows through. He helps out with process, whatever goes on. About 2 hours after the incident is over, Forte went to go talk to Vivian, and Vivian pulled him aside and said, "You really pissed me the fuck off back there." And Forte said, "With all due respect, I apologize. I wanted to talk to you and give my formal apology. That was not my intention. I was making a joke. I was just having some banter with the suspect," whatever he said. And somehow this got roped into being kind of a bigger thing than I think it needs to be. And to be honest with you, if Vivian lost her temper on a scene, with all due respect, I think that that's a bigger problem than what Forte did.
I mean, I think what they both did is a problem.
What did Forte do that was an issue?
Going over onto another officer's scene and then offering money to frisk someone when it's been denied already by an officer who's running the scene.
At what point is banter an issue?
I guess it's hard because we don't hear any tones, right? I'm not sure what the tone was, what tone was used. We're reading reports.
I just don't think that my issue is, this is why Forte believes that he can't be his own person, and why he's
his own person, but there's a time and a place to mess around, right? I'm behind closed doors, mess around, joke with each other, screw around, that's fine, right? But when you're out in the public, right, you need to carry yourself a certain way, right? You need to be professional. Again, it depends on what the circumstances, what the situation was about. Why was he, detained? Why did they try to frisk him? There's more to it.
It sounds like he was a part of the scene. I'm not entirely sure his full involvement, but I'm sure if I were to bet any amount of money, I don't think Forte was going to hand that man $500.
Yeah, even if he wasn't, it's all. I guess there's a lot more context to it, right? It's not clear cut. That I'd have to hear. Was it something like jaywalking, which isn't illegal, but something stupid? Some little bullshit citation, and they're joking around. Fine, that's a different story. If they're looking for a shooting suspect, that's a completely different story, right? There shouldn't be that joking around if you're looking for a shooting suspect. I think there's more. It's more along the lines of what the situation that led up to that interaction.
He was already in cuffs, though. He was already apprehended. The threat was neutralized.
Right, but what led to him in cuffs?
That I don't know. But if this is our one and only suspect, and we have him in cuffs. I don't
Was
see.
it the one and only suspect?
I'm not sure. So I'll give you that. But if Forte is helping process the 95, I mean, listen, do you know, I could tell you more times on my hand that I have used very lighthearted jokes to calm down a suspect who was maybe heated on a scene to bring it back down to room temperature. And I think that that is okay to do as long as it's all in good faith. And I have a good faith belief to believe that Forte, based on his personality and how I've seen him operate in the field, he didn't mean any harm in that. And if it was taken that way, I understand. But again, that's stuff that is fixable. That is not something that I think is detrimental to someone's career. And I think we're gonna.
You think he's getting fired, or?
Well, considering High Command is stepping in to take over one of our cadets, yes, I have complete fear that he could lose his job.
I don't think he's losing his job, but I think a stern talking to is going to be coming his way. Because there's been multiple instances of him disobeying chain of command.
Dispatch 13141.
Okay.
I don't believe that's been something we talked about exactly a removal. It's just more or less how we want to go about talking to him about it, and see where we go with it.
Okay. I don't know. I think my concern with this situation is just I would like to be. I would hope that shift 3, the people that get to see and help train and mentor this person, would have an opportunity to be fully informed of these incidents. The airfield one is news to me. I'd love information on that, and I would love an opportunity to actually be a part of that decision, considering we're the ones that are essentially keeping an eye on him, right? And that would go for any cadet.
Yeah, I definitely think it's something that's correctable. It's something that needs to be addressed sooner than later. I think it's gone on long enough. I just don't have the facts to address it at this very moment.
Sure.
Here's something I want to make sure that's clear. There isn't a shift 1, a shift 2, a shift 3 cop, right? Like we are all one PD. Okay, he's not your officer. He's all the seniors officers, right? I understand you're training him. I understand all the seniors on shift 3 are training him. But we got to make sure we are all one. We're not divided into three different teams. Okay, I want to make sure that's very true. I can act on a shift 1 or a shift 2 officer. You can act on a shift 1 or shift 2 officer. We're all one team, right? So, by the way you're talking, it sounds like you're creating this division here. I don't want that division. Okay,
I'm not creating the division, but this has come up to me from officers, and unfortunately my big command report about all the notes that I took got deleted, and I've been waiting for IT to kind of resolve it. There is what people believe is this division between shifts right now. People are afraid to work in other shifts, and I've been openly told
what
that.
shift?
Shift 1 has come up.
Why?
People are afraid that because the standard is so unbelievably high, people are afraid to be themselves. They're afraid to operate in their normal, regular capacity. And people feel like there is this weird divide between different shifts. People feel like that they can't operate how they want to. And I have no problem.
People?
I would love to give you my notes if you'd like to see them. They would be on a document, a Google document.
Send it.
I took.
Take a look at them.
Yeah. I will warn you, this is probably about a month out of date. I took anonymous complaints from officers because a lot of people were coming to me with a lot of issues. And a lot of the issues that I took, people were afraid to give me suggestions or to talk about them because they were afraid that they were going to get in trouble for suggesting something about this department. And I said, I don't think that that is a healthy communication environment. If you would like to give your advice, I will make a good due diligence effort to make sure the captains get this to read and see this stuff. In fact, I believe you commented on the command report that this got deleted. Why is nothing here? This was what was there. What was deleted was the other general police department's feedback from
Okay,
seniors.
do you have names to go with these?
Not anymore. No, I forget who I talked to, and I purposely kept it anonymous because I think putting a name on feedback creates how do I say this? Putting a name on feedback makes it personal, and I think people being given an opportunity to speak their mind and know that their voice is being recognized at the time of when I did this was the healthiest solution. I don't want anyone to feel like they're, they have a giant, I guess, target on their back for speaking their mind. And most of what I could do was to delegate and try and create solution for these people. But that doesn't doubt the idea that I want people's voices heard.
Do you have a problem with the DAP system, you personally?
I have an opinion about it that I think would help it. But overall, I think it works. I don't think it works at its full potential, though.
What is the full potential?
So I had suggested to Slacks over a month ago. You know what? That's a lie. It was probably about a month ago. That I think we have a divide with people. People believe the DAP system does not work. I feel indifferently. I think it does work. I think it needs another layer, though. For example, let's say you put 5 hours a week on duty, and I'm putting 50, right? People's concern is that 60 days is a long time. And I would, to some degree, understand that. But let's say, for just sake of argument, if I'm on duty more, statistically, right? If I'm on duty more, I am more likely to be in trouble. That's a fact. Now, if somebody is on duty and they're getting DAPs that they deserve, that's one thing. But I also think that there needs to be a layer to add into the average time that an officer is on duty, or something to relate to their hours on duty, to have an opportunity for them to receive some sort of an officer review, right? And my idea was to incorporate hours. Because if you're putting, 200 hours a month on duty, and someone's putting 50 hours a month on duty, then yeah, I would argue that the person putting in 50 hours a month on duty should absolutely wait. And I think the person... Hi, Barrick. Sorry.
All right, let's step away from the table so we get a little closer here.
That's fine. But to sort of wrap up my point, I brought up this idea that, not to call it a reward, but I think that if we have people that are afraid to get on duty or afraid to make their effort because, they're making mistakes, but they don't want to show that they're making change, then I feel like it's counteracted. And Slacks liked the idea, but I never heard anything about it after the fact. So
how many DAPs do you have, Flop?
I have 0 currently.
Barrick, how many DAPs do you have?
0.
You both do good work. You'll make mistakes, they get DAPs.
Mm.
It's meant to be a system that pushes back on people. The amount of hours you put in may open you up to more DAPs, but that doesn't mean your quality of police work should change.
I don't know if I fully agree with that. I think
because you put more hours, you should have some more leeway to fuck up more, frankly.
No, I'm simply trying to add a layer that, let's say, for example, someone has a DAP point, and let's say they're pumping 60 hours a week. I think they are deserving of an opportunity to sit down and talk about what they were DAP for, look at their incident reports, look at how they're operating, figure out if they have shown the improvement, and be offered some kind of leeway. I know that Slacks has talked about wanting to conduct a class at some point to hopefully give people that opportunity to maybe lose a DAP point. But I absolutely do think that that is a healthy middle ground to salute where people feel about our DAP system currently. I think our DAP system works. I don't think it needs to be changed. I think we can add on to it, though, and make it a more healthy environment.
I feel like we're talking about 3-4 individual cops, and we're talking about the issues of the DAP system.
Absolutely not. I spoke to more than 3 or 4 cops, and more than 3 or 4 cops have given me their concerns on how the DAP system works. They all feel like 60 days is too long. And I think instead of changing the days DAPs are, I guess, included, I think we need to have an addition if people are that concerned about it.
I think if people did a good job, listen, people make mistakes. I'm going back and forth with you here. Okay, I'm hearing what you're saying.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
And I guess I'm in a way defending it. We're playing devil's advocate here. We're going back.
No, sure, that's fine.
I think people can put in a large amount of hours and get no DAPs. I think we could look at situations and see that people made a mistake, an honest mistake, and not necessarily have to DAP. Now, when people are being grossly negligent, if they're a complete disregard for safety, they're doing things that would that you should know not to do. I think that's when DAP should come in, right? There's a time to DAP, there's a time to teach, and I mean, every DAP should be a teaching scenario either way. I know we've been talking about DAPs amongst the captains as well. So we'll see if I know there was a system we were talking about putting in place, setting up a class to remove a DAP, but that hasn't happened yet, which is not good. That might be part to my fault, being on an LOA lately, but that is a subject that we were talking about. So.
I would not say that's your fault at all. The people with these DAPs are, not don't fall under your specific time zone or whatever, if you will, and even though you've been gone, that doesn't mean everything should just fall by the wayside and stop happening. Mm-hmm. So to blame yourself for that is
yeah. Well, I don't want you to
start putting that together. So we're talking about delegating. Flop put together a system that teaches people some sort of generic system that could be used in any scenario that somebody's DAP for, that can teach them about that scenario. Create some sort of template for a 30 to 60 minute class.
Holy shit.
Touching up on stuff, maybe going through things, and get that over to me. I'll get to the cabins, and we'll try to push it forth for a classroom type DAP removal system.
Okay. Let me ask you this. The issue with DAPs, and the reason why I suggested my thing was more on the idea that we would be able to individualize each instance. Do you want me to create a system of solution in general for DAPs? Because I don't want like an AA response to this, right? I don't want to sit people in a room and just tell them you're here because you got in trouble, right? The old Captain America skit. But this is why you're getting detention. Do you think that individualizing and being specific in the reasoning for people's DAPs, do you think that would mean more? Because I have no problem. That's what you want?
That's what I want. I want a generic layout of, let's say on average you have 45 minutes to teach somebody something.
Sure.
Whether that be behind the wheel, whether you're going to go do pursuits, whether you're going to do pits, whether you're going to do chases, whether you're going to do foot chases, whether it be professionalism, whether it be SOPs, whether it be report writing, whatever it is, create something that's intertwinable between all of those. Basically, talk about what went wrong, talk about how to fix it, do it, run through it a few times. Something plan for 45 minutes, whether it's 30, whether it's 60, that's fine. Just create an outline, if you would, of how one of those would look.
Okay, I could do that. I'll lay it out and see what I could do and go from there. I would love to propose something like that.
Let's put that together, and then these classes aren't going to be mandatory. It's going to be if people want them. Well, and if you're over, say, 5 DAPs, 4 DAPs, and you want to take a corrective class along those lines, then we can offer a single corrective class, say per month, every couple weeks, something like that.
I haven't been reading chat. I looked over it.
Having a way to remove adapt, I think will relieve some of the pressure. And also create a good learning environment. Good
Sure.
learning scenario.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's my end goal. The last thing I want, and to be honest, the reason I started this was because the last thing I want is people to be so scared of punishment or to be so scared that they have to wait the full 60. Because the idea is that I have heard people say, well, if I just get those DAPs, I'll just take an LOA until they fall off. And I'm like, that's not the point. that's not the point. So, and I think that only works negatively. I think giving people that option to create a healthier environment all around would, I don't want to say it would be a morale boost, but I think it would give people that other option than to be just fearful that when that point comes, they're done, right?
Right. And what else do we have on here? Let me read this a little bit more here.
Sure, not a problem. Like I said, that what I sent you there is dated and old.
Outdated. How old are we talking? You said a month?
About a month. And then I would argue that that's old for this police department because what happens this week is going to be so different from what happens next week. But I would still say some of the information could be relevant. I haven't looked at that document in a while.
Oh yeah, they're talking about forensic work.
Yeah, that.
So we have that. So that is quite old.
Yeah. Bear, for context, I have the Google document that I had written up regarding that command report I made a while back for the anonymous officer complaints. It hasn't been recovered, so we're just going off of that right now. But yeah, that's all I did. I wasn't trying to overstep anybody. I wasn't trying to follow through. I wanted to give people an opportunity to speak their mind, be honest, and to go from there. But I'm glad Flop stood his ground at least. Flop is willing to die on the hill for
Officer does
Forte.
not feel wanted in the PD due to inconsistent responses received from everybody. Clear lines have been misconstrued, and officer has voiced concerns about how they are taught better. Those lines are ignored. What is that? What's the context on that?
Which officer is this?
6.
Stand by. Let me see. So they're being told something in one shift as being okay, I guess. And they go to another shift and they're being told something different. And I guess more from the personality side, certain things that are maybe somewhat acceptable in one shift are not being looked at as being acceptable in another shift. And they are getting pushback, if I remember correctly. I forget who this is exactly, if I'm being honest, but
All right, let's deal with that now on real quick.
which one is
You guys
that?
don't mind? Person with the gun out front.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. Holy shit, dude. Radio check?
They're in front of the PD right now. Do we have any units out mobile right now?
They're on back?
It's a guy on a bike. It's a guy on a bike with a gun. He's been chasing me.
Red bike.
Stay here for a moment, all right?
Yeah. He followed me from the sanitation yard. He's circled.
The 9.
Yeah, it's northbound Strawberries parked at the intersection closest to San Andreas.
Copy. They're claiming it might be an Uzi, just for information.
What the fuck? Okay. Get units to look for that red and colored bike.
Yeah, we've got him. Intersection of Strawberry and San Andreas. He's parked over. All black backpack,